Hey guys, so what I have for you today is the review for our second 9 weeks midterm. So since you're watching this, I want to thank you for studying. This is an awesome way to study. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the review. Remember, if you have any questions, you can ask me, send me a message or come into class. Let's get started. We have the microscope here, which is basically an exact copy almost of the one that you have in your notes. So I'm not going to go through the parts with you. Just remember that the way that we find total magnification is we multiply the eyepiece times the objective lens. The eyepiece is going to typically be 10, so we multiply that times whatever objective lens we're using, and that's going to give us our total magnification. We need to know the difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. So remember, no, you do. Prokaryotic cells have no nucleus, while eukaryotic cells do have a nucleus. And remember, this is where the DNA is at, in the nucleus. Since the prokaryotic cell does not have a nucleus, the DNA is just bunched up in the center of the cell, and it looks like spaghetti. It's just kind of all jumbled there in the cytoplasm. They both do have cytoplasm, which is something that they have in common. So just remember, no, you do. Cell theory is also really important. So first point that we have here is the cell is the basic unit of life. All life is made of cells, right? All living things are made of cells, and all cells come from pre-existing cells. That's reproduction. So cells come from cells. Life comes from life. Organelles. You need to study the organelles. If you don't know these, you need to make an effort to learn them. But we've done a lot of stuff with this, so you should, for the most part, know most of these. I basically just filled in the function. You can think of a way that helps you remember them. I cannot tell you how it's best for you to remember them, right? That's for you to decide, whatever helps you remember them. So nucleus is the control center. This is gonna be what controls everything that's going on in the cell. It contains the DNA or the genes, which are made of chromosomes, and that's all the information for the cell. So remember that the nucleus is the control center and it has the DNA. Then we've got chloroplast. This is going to only be in plant cells, and this allows them to capture sunlight, which is photosynthesis, and they're going to use that sunlight to make sugar or energy. Cell wall is going to only be in plant cells and prokaryotic cells. Remember that plant cells are going to need that extra protection and support. So this is going to provide them that shape and support. A cell membrane will be around an animal cell. It's also going to be present in a plant cell, and this is going to regulate cell content. So I always remember that these are kind of like the gatekeeper, or they're like the police officers at school. They are the ones that decide what can come in and what can't come in, or what can go out and what can't go out of the cell. And then mitochondria, they are the powerhouse of the cell. So they're the ones that are producing or converting energy, and you're going to find them in plant and animal cells. And then finally, we have a vacuole, and that's all about storage. So that's going to store food, water, and waste for plant cells and animal cells. So we will find vacuoles in animal cells, but they're going to be small. In plant cells, you're going to have large vacuoles because they need a lot of storage space. And I'm really sorry if my dog is barking and you can hear it. So let's get into the difference between plant and animal cells. Plants are going to produce their own food through photosynthesis, and organelles that they have that animal cells don't are going to be chloroplasts and cell walls. Animal cells will not have chloroplasts, and they will not have a cell wall. Plants are, like I just said, right, they're going to have large vacuoles. Animal cells will have small vacuoles, and they're both going to have mitochondria, which produces energy. With sexual reproduction, there are going to be two parents. So we talked about this. If you need to, go back and look at the notes for the two types of reproduction. Because there are two parents, right? We get half of the DNA from mom, half of the DNA from dad. I'm going to have high genetic variation. That means the kids are going to look different from each other because they're getting different halves from the parents, you know, and like I said before, like maybe you got your dad's hair, but your brother didn't. Your brother has your mom's hair or something like that. So that's what I mean by high genetic variation. The kids look different. This is going to happen in mostly multicellular organisms. It's going to happen in multicellular organisms. Some examples are like humans, dogs, cats are going to all reproduce sexually. With asexual reproduction, we're going to have one parent, and the offspring is going to be identical to the parent. So one example here is binary fission, which is the picture that you see, which is a unicellular organism, but this is also going to happen in, with spores from mushrooms, or it can happen with regeneration, like we talked about the sea stars. So some examples of organisms would be amoebas, hydras, yeast, ferns are all going to reproduce asexually. But the most important thing that you need to remember about this is about genetic variation. Which one is going to be more varied, which kids are going to look different from each other, right? And that's going to be sexual reproduction. They're going to be more diverse. While asexual reproduction, the kids all look exactly like the parent because they're just a copy of that one parent. Okay, let me know if you have any questions, and thanks for watching.